A very good evening and welcome to the India Development Debate. I'm Tamanna Inamdar and we have a great show lined up for you this Friday evening. Imagine we're going to talk about cricket, we're going to talk about Bollywood and we're going to talk about your health. So a lot for you this evening. First up, IPL is finally on. IPL 2020 will take place in UAE. How will it work and could it have been done in India? That's the first big story. We're also going to take a deep dive into the theories of herd immunity which have rebounded. This after two events this week. The Sero study by ICMR in Delhi, which showed nearly 23% of the population may have developed antibodies to the COVID-19 infection. And then a private laboratory, Thyrocare, which claimed that at least 15% of the entire population may have developed immunity. We will talk about those claims ahead on the show. And we have a Friday delight for you. My colleague Vikram Oza caught up with Vidya Balan on her next major movie. A slice of that interview coming up. But first, let's talk about IPL. IPL is finally here. We knew it would happen. The BCCI had made it clear it wouldn't give up because there is just so much riding on it. It's not just cricket, it's entertainment and a huge business to boot.
All right, so IPL will finally be conducted in the UAE and will start on September 19th. You know, even a few weeks ago, this seemed near impossible, or let me say a couple of months ago, it seemed near impossible. But the push that possibly losses mounting to thousands of crore rupees can have will make anything on earth happen. And here we have an IPL which will indeed take place. So how will IPL 2020 look? And will it sort of set the parameters of how we conduct cricket in this post-pandemic future? To speak to me on this today is Vivek Singh, co-founder and joint managing director of ProCam International. I'm talking with Atul Vasan, former Indian cricketer, and brand guru Harish Bijul. Great to speak to all of you guys today. Vivek, let me begin by just getting your take, because you and I had a conversation a few weeks ago on, whether IPL would happen, not happen, future of sports. It's finally here. Do you think we have enough clarity on the challenges that BCCI will face to make sure this goes through smoothly and safely?
Yeah, first of all, great to be here, and great to be here with Atul and Harish. Tamanna, always a pleasure to talk to you. It's great that it's happening. There's no question about it. IPL is much needed, but it's a loss as far as I'm concerned that it's happening overseas. It's such a fantastic coming together that we wanted it to happen here, and I don't know whether was it really that impossible for it to happen here. We've seen the first green shoots of professional sport happen with the Bundesliga in Germany. We've seen it happen with the Formula One races, a few of them in Europe, and it's not easy, but they have successfully managed to create a bubble in which the professionals, the sportsmen, the ecosystem that goes around that sport can operate in. And today we're not going to have it here. That's what's been decided by the BCCI. And up front in the sky, actually that's a loss. I wish the IPL was happening here.
Okay, very interesting point, Vivek. And I think you've actually spoken about, and you said aloud what a lot of people are thinking. For viewers sitting at home, it's great anyway. It doesn't make a difference, right? And it's something to sort of take your mind off everything around us if the IPL is on. So all of that excitement will be there. But Atul Vasan, Vivek has brought up a very important point. Was it completely impossible to do this in India? Is UAE the only option, or was it more important to just make sure the IPL happens?
Well, nothing is impossible, as you can say. But yes, it would have been very difficult because logistically it's a nightmare. And I think Dubai, I'd said a month and a half ago that if T20 World Cup doesn't happen, IPL is going to be happening in Dubai, because that is the place where it can actually come together. because you've got all the hotels which are all empty, by the way, and you've got 3 grounds. We've got fantastic grounds where the travel distance is not much, so you can create this bio bubble very easily, and all the teams can come in, and it's the best connected city in the world travel wise. So it looks like everything will fall in place, and as it is, we're not going to have any viewers in the ground. So I think looking at that, we would have lost out on people not going to the grounds anywhere in India. But crisscrossing the country, keeping the teams in a bio bubble would have been a nightmare, if not impossible. So I think that's the best possible option, because this IPL has become a part of our calendar. So there were a lot of naysayers saying that why is it happening, and the decks were cleared when the T20 World Cup was out of the window. We've already lost the Olympics, so even losing the T20 World Cup is not such a big thing. But this is not just cricket. We have to realize it's a juxtaposition of cricket and entertainment. So this product, which we call T20, is cricketainment. And a lot of the old world purists look down upon T20, but it provides livelihood. It gives security to players, which we guys missed out, and we spent all our professional careers in insecurity. So I love to keep players who don't even have the India cap, but they're secure for life. And it's just not the players; it's the ecosystem around it, the promoters, the handlers, the cheerleaders, and all the people who are around the system. Even the IPL franchisee teams, the marketing teams, and all. So there is a livelihood to be made with a lot of people. So I am really happy that this finally is going to happen.
So a lot of that ecosystem that you just described, that Atul Vasan just described, will not really make it to the IPL this time. We talk about cheerleaders, spectators won't be there. Harish Bijur, sponsors who come in on ground won't have a space. But the biggest question I asked, because I had the opportunity to speak with Uday Shankar a few weeks ago, and I asked him, do you think that people will come in, sponsors will come in and pay the towering rates that IPL commands? After all, it was a huge investment for Star as a broadcaster. Do you think that appetite is there right now on the business side, on the advertising side?
Well, firstly, it's good to hear that IPL is back and in full format, not truncated, 51 days plus. So the point is that at this point of time, BCCI has taken the proverbial patli gali out of safety, because you never really know what's going to happen in November. And though overseas November seems to be a more reliable overseas November than an Indian November. And therefore, I think, if you look at the brand side of it, I think India is totally starved of cricket content. New content hasn't been happening. And you, I, and my grandfather are all totally tired looking at cricketers cooking, looking at them hugging their beloved, hugging their pets. We want content. And I think that content...
Also, Harish, finding the time to, promote the products that they have signed on in the middle of all of this cooking and other entertainment.
They've done all that. They've exhausted it all at this point of time. But the point at this point of time is the fact that cricket is going to be back, and this is good news for many people. Firstly, the broadcaster. People like Uday Shankar, if he's saying that my tariff is something, people going to come back, our brands going to come back, I do believe they're going to come back. So that's the happy news, because brands are looking for vehicles. Brands are looking for passion formats, which is going to reinvent the passion once again. Because brands love passion, because the passion on cricket has a way of translating it onto the passion of that shoe or a wafer or whatever is being advertised. So I think everybody is looking forward to it. The broadcaster, firstly. Secondly, brands, which have their money stashed at this point of time and want to put it out there. And certainly viewers, because the viewers are locked in even at this point of time, not by diktat, but by personal volition. So I think everybody wants it, and therefore IPL 2020, welcome.
Now, Harish, I just want you to comment very quickly on the point that Vivek raised about why could IPL not have taken place in India? Did we try enough to make it happen? I mean, it's the Indian Premier League, and UAE has possibly been a favored destination because it's a smaller place, well managed. They've managed to figure out a way to get tourists in. Maybe there'll be spectators. I'm not too sure how they've worked that out. But there seems to be underlining it all, and this is a difficult point to make, but it's unfortunately true. There seems to be a faith that all of this will be handled better in the UAE. Why not in India?
Okay, this is the proverbial Patli Gali again, as I'm saying it. Hashtag proverbial Patli Gali. Seriously, because you never really know what's going to happen in the context that we're talking about out here. Because in India, the pandemic is just about, some people say, just about climbing. So you never know what's going to happen. Secondly, important to say that taking Atul's point of cricketainment, I would say that all of a sudden it's cricket, more cricket now and less entertainment. Fundamentally because the on-ground presence is lost. Yes, the IPL format has fantastic options of linking online entertainment, etc., etc. All that will happen, but it's not going to be the same for sure. So having it in UAE, it's IPL has happened overseas in the past, so not the first time around.
Yeah.
So a content specific, a closed door, very cricket centric. Hopefully the centricity on cricket is going to be greater, because there are some purists who really want to look at that as well. So I think more cricket, less entertainment, but lots of content and viewers being reasonably happy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the purists are looking for cricket from IPL or right now are willing to watch anything. It all comes with the context. And the last time you were talking about the IPL being moved out was because of the elections. Which is why it was not, feasible to hold it here. But Vivek, coming back to the hows and whys, do you think there is going to be a difference in the kind of ecosystem around the IPL, the sponsors, the hosts, the cheerleaders, and also a different experience of actually playing for the cricketers without any spectators, possibly?
No, there's no question about it. Sport is about the energy and the passion and the connect. And first of all, not having spectators itself is a new normal. And I hope that normal doesn't stay very, very, long time. We want the spectators back. We want the energy. We want that passion. We want that connect. And it's exactly what, Atul and Harish have actually touched upon. The ecosystem now is not going to benefit in India. And IPL is a big, big benefactor of the ecosystem. There are so many people whose livelihoods depend on the IPL and the 51, 55-day entire carnival of cricket that is displayed. None of that's going to benefit the Indian ecosystem. Also, so, I think Harish put it nicely when he said it's the Patli Gali that the BCI has taken. Fine, and they have to do what is best for the sport. They have to do what is best for the times. But if there was a way of creating a bio bubble, if there was a way of just narrowing it down to one or two venues and having it here, I think it would have been a great showcase of what is possible. I think it would have been a great shot in the arm for sport in general, because it's not just, IPL is not just about cricket. Of course, it's cricketainment, we know that, but it's also a big, can do, will do that gets showcased across the country. And pulling it off successfully, doing it, would have been a huge feather in our cap. And that, I feel, is a loss. That feather in our cap, we pulled it off, we've done it. And we've done it. And who knows, things may kind of ease up. We still got, almost 2 months to go in that sense. So, yes, it's a loss, but no question about it. It's great that IPL 2020 is back. And it's going to be a very different avatar. No spectators, UAE. It's different. It's different to the magic, the madness, the masala that is India, and which for me is IPL.
Yeah. Do you think that there is some time before India can host an event of this scale, or some kind of normalization? This question for Vivek again. Some kind of normalization to sporting events like this. I mean, today there was news about how Tokyo is planning to revive the Olympics after they couldn't and they cancelled it. So they have a plan in place as well. Everyone is trying to figure out this new normal because it's not just sports; it's a huge business. Do you think we are even working in that direction, or is it lower in the list of priorities? Where there are several industries which need to be rehabilitated first?
That's a great question, actually, because sport is an industry. Well, it's very different to any other industry. We have not yet measured the psychological impact of having sporting events, what it does to the psyche, what it does to confidence, what it does to the happiness index of the citizens of this country. So when you talk about industry and sport as one industry, sure, but having a sporting event sends a very different signal. It sends a ripple of confidence into the masses.
Yeah.
It sends hope. It sends the fact that, what, we're going to see this through. And those are the reasons that, we relate to. And yes, they're challenging. These are very challenging times. We have to be careful. There's no question about it. So yeah, we all have to take it one day at a time, but it's a loss. There's no question about it. It's a loss that it's happening overseas. It's a loss to
Okay.
India and Indians. Yes, in some
No,
way.
I mean, that's a fair point. Atul Vasan, what are the challenges you see from the perspective of the player in this bubble that they will have to be? They are facing risks, though, one way or the other. They are facing risks. They will then go on to play after the IPL as well, which is why some are saying that the dates were advanced from September 26th to September 19th. What do you think will change for the players and what will mind?
Well, I guess you can't actually totally indemnify against something happening to you. I think the players are the most positive people you'll meet. I'm sure no player is afraid of catching this. You can imagine Amitabh Bachchan with all the problems and then living in the cocoon could catch it. So what chance other people have? You can do as much as you want, but there's no guarantee that you'll have it. Having said that, what Vivek said, I'll just want to touch it because this brings positivity, and you cannot imagine for sport junkies like me. I am crying out loud for a live competition, any sport. At this point of time, I'm ready to see two dogs fight. So, and I think the advertising rates will be doubled because, the platform is so little. So I think it'll be amazing. But the other point is that watching a sport without the spectators is a problem. Yeah. But when I saw the test match, so let's use the England West Indies series as a dipstick research. For a purist like me, I was watching the action, and the way I watch cricket is probably different to a layman sitting in his drawing room. And obviously, watching T20 is an entirely different ball game altogether. So at that point, I think we should work on augmented reality where people who are a layman who enjoys the action and outside action more than what actually is happening on the ground, not people like us who are critics or who are in there with a very esoteric mind of approach. But you can have some kind of, like football is trying it. So I think there are some ways where IPL can add to the picture, not just have IPL in the way test matches are happening now, because test matches for another audience altogether. So these are things, and the stump mics, there's a lot more can be heard. So the players have to be sensitized, what all you can say and all that. So there's a lot of, and obviously the biggest problem is we see that you can't put saliva on the ball. So if you're having the cricket in Dubai on these dirt track pitches, I mean, bowlers are going to be going for a leather hunt, because you'll get the sweat, but without saliva, you got no chance. So, bowlers are up against it. So if you go down to the micros of what's going to happen, there's a lot I can talk about. We need another program, but we are talking
No,
about
but give us a little
the
bit more
financials.
of this.
I'll tell you, just want to say one thing.
Interesting. This is
Just-
interesting. For a lot of people who don't
Let me say.
understand exactly how
No, I mean,
mechanics work, I'm one of them. I admit.
let's not get into the technicalities, but financially, I think
Yeah.
one.
No, I mean, when I thought that there's no saliva on the ball, I was relieved. I was like, thank God.
Because you're probably a batsman.
I was there in the first.
So anyway, so let's just get back to what I was about to say. The Indian government has lost the trick in the book. They have lost this opportunity to legitimize and legalize betting. This could have been a windfall. You can make few thousand crores if you just legalize betting right now. And they'll give a smaller window to fly-by-night operators. Yesterday I was watching somebody's advertising, and there are plenty of exchanges you can put. Every kid has got this fan club on their phone right now. They are advertising a live cricket game in Limassol in Cyprus. But the match is happening in somewhere in India and streamed live. And there are Betfair, there are 20, 30 exchanges who are taking bets on it. And there are all Indian money losing. And I don't know where ED is and where are the agencies. They can't even see what's happening. So, if this IPL would have been the flag bearer of betting being legalized in India, we could have covered some shortfall from this COVID problem. So I think we have missed a
Yeah.
trick in the book. There's still 2 months.
You
Probably
know,
the best way.
I think maybe, I don't know how ambitious that is, hoping to change everything. I think IPL is happening. That's a big deal. Remember, it still needs official government clearance, which is likely to come. No big problem is expected in that quarter. But Harish, in terms of opportunity, and I want you to focus on this a bit, it's the Indian Premier League. It is a huge industry for India. And if we were to link it with the revenues that the Indian economy could have gotten from IPL, do you think that opportunity is still there? Or at the end of it, is it going to be the cricketers, the broadcasters, and that very small pool of people who are going to make good their dues and make a big money out of this?
Well, economically speaking, sport is at the last rung. I mean, even though sport is the largest common denominator that hugs the largest number of people in India, and particularly cricket, it is at the lowest rung. And therefore, the government possibly has decided that in terms of priorities, it doesn't stand so hot. But if you really look at it from the point of economics, yes, it is a loss of opportunity. It's a loss of valuable money. It's a loss of monetization ability, at the grassroots level, because it's not only what happens at the grounds, but it's what happens in the shops. It's what happens everywhere else. What happens offline. What's going to be attempted, and I know this is being done. Obviously, I won't be able to speak about the details due to commitments. I would simply say that this is going to be the first experience of cricket that is physical in terms of cricket and virtual in terms of entertainment, which means to say that the entertainment quotient is going to be brought in the e-format, in the electronic format. And you're going to see a lot of excitement there. It's not going to match what we used to see on the ground, but this is a compromise. So money-wise, yes, it's a loss.
Yeah, I know, Harish, you're probably not going to expand on that, but that sounds exciting. Let me put it to you another way. What is the kind of innovation which has an opportunity to come out right now because of the unique circumstances in which we're doing all of this? We've seen innovation in pretty much every stream. People have been forced to innovate because of COVID-19, right? So what is the kind of potential for innovation here?
Okay, now you're putting me on the mat, and I'm bound by a disclosure. Okay, and therefore I will take the patli gali out by saying that there are 16 different exciting e-ways which are being conceptualized. So you will see a lot of it coming up, and that's how far I can go with my non-disclosure.
Okay. Let me go. Thank you for that, Harish. I did put you on the mat, but you took the patli gali out, as you said. Vivek, let me put that to you. The kind of potential for innovation. And we've seen every business innovate, whether it's the food industry, whether it's the retail stores. It is innovate or perish right now, right? So where do you think the opportunity is for something like the IPL, which already has a captive audience, captive viewer interest, to take it to the next level?
Yeah, so innovation is going to come in and it's going to play a big role in everything, not just cricket. It's the idea is how to keep the emotional quotient to the same level that it was. And that's the challenge that everybody has. For example, in our own running, we're seeing how we can, rather than bringing people to runs and events, how can we bring the run to people? So the amplification via digital is going to play a huge role. I think the challenge that the broadcaster and the stakeholders will have is the emotional quotient without fans, the emotional quotient without the ecosystem in that particular city kicking in. How do they manage to keep that emotional quotient high? And I think it's going to lead to some great path-breaking new ideas. I mean, Harish has, I think, a little closer optic on it. He's got some 16 ways he's panned out. I'd love to hear some of them actually, because we're large mass event promoters ourselves. But no question about it, there is going to be a lot of good that comes out of this. People are thinking out of the box. People are actually throwing the box away and thinking completely in new and innovative ways they've never thought before. And the challenge is simple. Can I emotionally connect at the same level that I did? And if so, what are the hooks that are going to keep me drawn in? I think there's no better product And I must say, hats off to BCCI. They've persevered. They've actually making it happen. And yeah, it's happening, and BCCI has persevered on it. I'm sure they'll get the clearances that they require. So hats off to them. And I think we're all going to wait and watch to see what kind of innovations are we going to learn from it.
Yeah, no, I mean, the fact is that the BCCI is powerful enough to have pushed this through to ensure that other cricket tournaments around the world very conveniently postpone their dates to, pave the way. I have no qualms in saying it, but then, they're making it happen and people want to watch. There's a demand for it. Otherwise, my question to you is, do you think this is going to change the face of how sporting events are played forever once new formulas are devised, once new ways have been put into place?
I hope not, because my earliest memory of me starting or taking up cricket was watching a live test match at Firozshah Kotla and Sunil Gavaskar getting 100. And that kind of emotion cannot be replicated. And what Vivek is saying, that the kind of connect will definitely not be there, because once you hit a six, and then the camera pans to a joyous expression on a young girl or young boy's face. How can you replicate that when there's nothing there? So you got to fill in. And how the broadcasters will do that is going to be a challenge. But at least I'm going to get this. Who am I to complain? Compared to this, I was getting zilch. So I am just going to lap it up whatever is there. But I hope that does not become a norm. No matter how well they garnish this product and we watch it, it can never or should not be a substitute for what we are used to. Because that is real thing, when we get that and the connecting. And the circus used to move in town. When a match used to happen, IPL 3-4 days before that, big buzz, hotels used to get a lot of business, the teams are coming in and out, the practice is happening. So that whole aura and ambience, you cannot replicate. And it's going to be a match. Obviously, we can't go to the pub because it became an excuse for friends to get together in a pub or drink. And it became a social event. And then even parents say, if the kids say, I'm going to watch an IPL game, it was an excuse for the kids to go to hang in the pub. So, so everybody's going to be hanging in somebody's house. And how many people, you might just get coppers knocking on your door, and how many people are in your house because people are counting and complaining. So there's a lot of other things that's going to happen. Let's watch and keep our fingers crossed.
No, I mean, it's a new reality. It's a new reality. But, I'm going to take from what you said, Atul, something's better than nothing. And we're definitely staring at something big. The IPL is here, and where there is so much connect, there will be a way to make it into a mega event and a mega revenue spinner. One big question, though, which was raised in the debate, and an important one, is, has India lost the opportunity of having hosted the IPL? Could we have pushed more for that? Well, I'll leave it at that and thank you gentlemen for joining us in the first big story this evening.